The Sabres make their first ever trip to Utah. 9 o'clock tonight. What to expect from tonight's game. What's going on with their team name over there, and their owner is doing some really cool things. And an update on our favorite Sabre bracket. All ahead in the Locked On Sabres podcast.
You're Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into this Thursday edition of the Locked On Sabres podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. That includes checking us out on our YouTube channel, where you can like and subscribe the show, watch us there. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Good time for that with the tournament already starting here on Thursday afternoon. Stinky Joe DiBiase here on a game day. The Sabres are in Salt Lake City. A lot to get to on tonight's game, and it being the first ever meeting in Utah for the Buffalo Sabres. And I was kind of looking back on their history and all the different arenas that they've played in cities like Cleveland that you wouldn't think of if you go way back into the 70s when the Barons existed, and Quebec, of course, and Atlanta. And you add Utah to the list of at least a new place that the Sabres are going to. We talked yesterday a lot about upcoming expansion destinations like another Atlanta team or Houston or New Orleans, which is the latest report. But Utah is here, and the Sabres play tonight against them. Little Sabres After Dark. I think it's, by the way, going head to head with the tournament. So if you are a Sabre fan, maybe tonight is a good double screen night. One on your computer, one on your TV, maybe two TVs if you got that set up, one with the Sabre game on it and one with one of the tournament games or the kind of the red zone version of the tournament that you can watch as well. By the way, we will update you a little bit later on our tournament for this month. The favorite Sabre of all time bracket. Nothing crazy about it. Just we're trying to figure out who the most popular player, the most well-liked Sabre of all time is. And you can vote right now on Twitter on our podcast account at Locked On Sabres. 2 are up at the moment and will be for the next 23 hours. Who's your favorite? The 8-9 matchup between Rasmus Dahlin and Max Afinogenov, and also the 4-13 matchup between Danny Gare and Alesh Kotelik. At the moment, Dahlin with a slight lead over Afinogenov. This one's going to hurt. It's going to hurt me personally to see Max go down in round 1. I randomized it. I thought about, I put him in tiers and then I randomized. It's like Dahlin and Afinogenov were in the same tier. And I thought about splitting them up because I want to see Max go far in this thing, but I don't want to cheat or move it around. If he's not going to win the whole thing, he's not going to win the whole thing. And then Gare with a very slight lead over Kotelik, despite, hey, like, respect to the voters voting for Danny Gare on that, because social media, it leans younger, I think. So how many people would have watched Danny Gare play? Not nearly the same number of people that would have watched Alesh Kotelik play, but Gare is all around the community, always at alumni events. I mean, he is as present a figure in Buffalo as there is. I mean, compared to the French Connection, sadly, Rick Martin, René Robert have since passed away, and Gilbert Perreault lives in Quebec. I mean, you didn't see them all the time, though, right? Like, I've mentioned this on this show. I don't know the last time Perreault was at anything for the Sabres, whether it was an event at the arena or whether it was even an autograph signing locally. I mean, he's an older gentleman, so traveling, I'm sure he doesn't want to do that all that often. But when's the last time you saw the Sabres all-time skater? I haven't seen him in years. Danny Gare's everywhere. Danny Gare is always doing events and he's always around, and everyone loves Danny. So he's winning that right now, and I might expect that he does, despite not everybody getting to see him play. And there'll be more of those coming up. If you would like to check out the bracket, again, you can hit us up on our text club, Twitter. It's up on Blue Sky as well. So that's what we got going on for the next month. Have some fun with it. Let's have some fun, though, with what we're going to have tonight in this meeting against Utah. Nothing meaningful in the standings, but hey, these games are, I'm trying to read into anything you can read into when it comes to this hockey team and going forward, what the future holds, and any positive signs to take with you going into the offseason. And a couple of wins recently, see if they can keep that rolling. They have not won 2 road games in a row in 4 months. December, I believe, is the last time that they did that. So it's been a minute. It's been a minute. So we'll see if they can do that tonight. A lot to get to on Utah as well, because I really like what they've got going this season. Before we get to any of that, though, just a couple of injury updates at the moment. JJ Peterka looks like he's in line to return to action tonight. And we know Yuri Kulik is not going to play. Kulik with a concussion, back in Buffalo, not even on the trip. Josh Norris didn't practice on Wednesday. The Sabres held their practice, by the way, if you saw the video, at the Utah, it's like the Olympic facilities from 2002. And they're building new facilities because they're going to have the Olympics again, not the next Winter Games, I believe the ones after. So they're building these new facilities. The new arena is going to be the new home of Utah when it gets built. Sabres are practicing and skating in a speed skating rink. Lindy had them do a lap around the oval. There is no ice in the middle, though. So they had to get a little creative with some stuff. He made them all do a lap. That was pretty cool. Peterka was back for that. And it sounds like he'll play in the game. No Kulik. Norris not practicing, and this injury is going to be tough. I hope he's able to get back and give some positive signs that he could be healthy by the end of this year, because I'm just imagining the vibes of that trade being very poor going into the summer. If Norris can't get on the ice and Cousins continues to perform for the Ottawa Senators. Cousins has been very good so far for Ottawa in the few games that he has had. He's played only 5 games so far. So nothing crazy at all. But if you look at his numbers in that time, he's first on Ottawa in scoring chances in those 5 games with 19. These stats were Sportsnet put a graphic up on this. He's number 1 on Ottawa in slot shots on net with 12 in those 5 games. Number 1 on Ottawa in hits. Number 1 on Ottawa in face-off wins. And he's number 2 in controlled entries into the zone, which is one of the valuable parts of his game. So I've watched a little of Cousins. I think he's played well. I think he has looked a little lost at times, though, too. So I don't know how much these results are going to hold, because I'm still seeing some of those weird plays and shifts by him. But we'll see. It's going well. And if he plays well and Norris doesn't get on the ice, then you're going to have some Ottawa victory laps, I think, going into the summer, even if it's way too early to tell for 2 guys that are under contract for 6 years. So I'm hoping Norris can get out there. No update at this time, though, and that's, I think, a little concerning for the big acquisition the Sabres made at the trade deadline. So let's get into this matchup, though. We'll take a timeout here. When we come back, how good is Utah? Because they are flirting with the playoffs, and they've got some good young talent. Arizona, this is not going to be, I think, Quebec 2.0, where the Nordiques leave and then the Avalanche immediately win the Stanley Cup the next year. But the Coyotes, Coyotes fans who just gone through a decade plus, 20 years of never having a good team, might be about to see the team get good the second they leave. Explain that when we come back here in the Locked On Sabres podcast.
Did you know getting a good night's sleep is the #1 recipe for long-term success in life? I didn't. It took me way longer to realize than I'd like to admit. It was years of tossing and turning. I was always tired. I never felt like I could live up to my potential, but not anymore. Thanks to Bear Mattress. I used their sleep quiz and I matched with the Elite Hybrid. It's perfect for side sleepers like me. Now I wake up energized. I'm getting deeper sleeps and I'm ready to attack the day. No matter how you sleep, Bear Mattress has a match for you with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout for 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sabres podcast here on a game night. Sabres are in Utah. And let's get into a little bit about what the Utah Hockey Club has going on. And by the way, they're living the euphoric life right now of a new owner. And listen, it's gone very poorly since that first season. No doubt about it. And we've learned some things about the Pegulas and Terry Pegula's ownership of the hockey team specifically. But if you think back to 2011, the first couple of months that Terry Pegula owned the team, it was awesome. They were good, which helped. They made the playoffs. They were in the midst of that run. But new owner comes in, and he's selling dreams, and he's selling hope, right? He's crying at Gilbert Perreault. He is talking about winning multiple Stanley Cups, right? He's just saying he's the fifth grader that's running for class president in elementary school shouting, we're going to have 2 recesses, and we're going to have 2 lunches, and we're going to have snack bar, just whatever. And that's Ryan Smith right now of the Utah Hockey Club. And he's doing things like Terry, remember, he brought all the alumni back. Fan Appreciation Night 2011 against Philadelphia. Every player that felt like they'd ever played for the Sabres felt like they were there. Tons and tons of people. So that was great. And the alumni were back. The French Connection were back. And I just mentioned that doesn't happen a lot. So everything seemed really cool. They were going after big free agents, even if they weren't landing them. They were trying the Ehrhoff contract. Like, this is nuts. It was cool. Ryan Smith is going through that right now. It's the honeymoon phase in Utah. And part of that is that Ryan Smith is doing some pretty cool things. He's not really thinking like a businessman right now. He's acting like a little kid who just bought his favorite toy. And his favorite toy in this instance is a hockey team. So, like, I go on social media today, head of Sabres and hockey team. It's not going to get used to it. I need them to call themselves the Mammoth. And there's a story from Ryan Smith, the owner, who announced that the team is going to be having a $1 subscription to the team's Utah Hockey Club Plus streaming service so that fans can watch all remaining regular season and playoff games if they make it for $1. That's something that a new owner does. Let me do something for the fans here that makes no monetary sense at all. And that's what you want from your owner. And that's what every fan base wants from their owner, is moves like this that just show, I want the fans to have a good time, and I don't want to rip them off. And that's what Ryan Smith has been doing so far. Plus, I mean, look at I'm sharing it on YouTube right now. Look at the picture. I mean, this guy is wearing a hoodie all the time, and he's a young guy, and, clean shaven. He looks like a tech guy. I actually don't even know what line of work he comes from, but I'm guessing he's a tech guy just by looking at him. So Ryan Smith, he's doing a really cool thing, and he brought the team there recently, and everything that they're doing is geared towards fan experience and winning right away. So it's going really well. And the roster and the team are kind of answering the bell on that. Not fully, because as I mentioned, they're not like a cup contender by any means. They are a playoff contender. Right now, they are 4 points out of a spot. They have 2 teams to leap over. So they are right in the thick of the playoff race, but they're going to have to do some work here to get in over Calgary, St. Louis, and Vancouver. Vancouver, that team right now that's in that final spot at 75 points, Utah at 68. But Utah's young, and they have reason, if I were them, I would think they have reason to believe that this year is only the beginning. That, sure, they have a couple of veterans. Nick Schmaltz, for instance, 28 years old. I remember talking about Nick Schmaltz for the Sabres a few years ago as an idea I did not like. But he's turned into a pretty reliable top 6 guy. He's not amazing, but he's a pretty good, responsible two-way player. Clayton Keller, he is 26 now, but he's awesome. 75 points on the season. He is looking for, I think, a 3rd straight year with more than 1 point per game. Keller is great, and their most offensively gifted player at the moment. So that's a couple of top line guys that are a little bit older, but it's the youth that I would really be excited about. It is Logan Cooley. It is Dylan Gunther. Those two especially that I would be pumped about. Both high picks. Gunther was a top 10 pick, 9th overall. Cooley, I think, went third overall in 2022. And both guys young in their careers. This is only year 2 for Cooley and year 3, excuse me, for Gunther. But both guys have had really good seasons. 48 points in 56 games, 49 points in 61 games for a 20 and a 21-year-old. 3rd and 4th on the team, playing top 6 minutes, 17 minutes a night-ish, a little higher for one, a little lower for the other. Cooley especially. Cooley, to me, could be a superstar. He's really dynamic. I really like his shot, but more than that, the vision that he has, the stick handling, I just kind of think he's the complete package offensively. So I'd be very excited about Cooley if I were them, and I think this is only the beginning for the Utah Hockey Club. The numbers represent that they are a good team, that they are even better than their record, especially at 5-on-5. Expected goals for percentage on the year, they rank 11th in the league, just a hair under 52% on the season. Corsi for percentage, they are 6th in the NHL at 53.3%. Every shot percentage, 7th in the league. They're very good in all of those metrics. Special teams, maybe they could use a little bit of work. Goaltender, they've been fine. Vejmelka has had a pretty good year, 908 save percentage. The team overall, though, it's a pretty good hockey team, and I think they could be an upset pick if they were to make the playoffs. Like, if they were to make it, I would, and I were filling out my NHL bracket, speaking of brackets, we get to the bracket challenge time when the Stanley Cup playoffs begin. And I'm kind of hoping Utah makes it because I want to pick Utah to beat Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs. And it's not like Winnipeg is bad in all of these areas. Winnipeg is very good. They are 6th in expected goals for percentage. They're top level in Corsi for as well. But they're kind of even with Utah in a lot of these. It's pretty close. What's the biggest difference between Winnipeg and everybody else? Winnipeg has the best power play in the NHL. Insane power play this year. They've been awesome. What happens in the playoffs? They stop calling penalties. It's going to be more about 5-on-5. And when I look at 5-on-5, I don't see a lot separating, statistically, Utah and Winnipeg. So I'm rooting for them to get in because I'm going to want to pick them. And I'm not as confident about that with Calgary, St. Louis, or Vancouver. So they got 4 points to make up, and they can cut that in half tonight when they play the Sabres, although a lot of the league is in action. The last thing I want to say about them, we'll get to tonight's game and a bet that I really like for tonight. The team name. What is the team name going to be in Utah? Well, right now, it is between Mammoth and Hockey Club. If you believe the latest report, which is those are the two team names that they filed extended trademarks for. They did not maintain the trademark for Outlaws. They filed for that originally. That's going to expire. So it's not going to be Utah Outlaws. And it's not going to be Utah Yeti because there's been a dispute with the Yeti cooler brand. And I think that's dumb. I think a team name and a company that does something completely different should never be a problem. And it's weird to me that it even is, but I guess that has kind of got them away from Yeti. I'm rooting for Mammoth. It's not my favorite. I don't like that it's singular. I like plural team names. I think they do too much of this now where there's the singular team name. But Mammoth would be cool. And I want a logo. I want a logo if I'm them. I want a team name. I want a mascot. And Mammoth would be pretty sweet, I think, if you're Utah. I wish they would go to some pink colors also that are kind of mixed in because the Pink Lake and Salt Lake, and there's no pink even accents in hockey or in any professional sport. So I don't need to be the main color, but a little stripe somewhere, a little accent color. Somebody will do that eventually, but not yet. And we'll see. Utah could do it, but they're not planning on doing it right now. All right. When we come back, tonight's game, I've got a bet I really like for tonight. Got a sneaky good bet on the way when we come back here in the Locked On Sabres podcast. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Speaking of FanDuel, be going there when I get my sneaky good bet coming up next. Odds be courtesy of FanDuel, of course. March Madness, though, is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything. It doesn't even have to be March Madness. It could be the hockey game tonight. It could be golf. We got some big tournaments coming up. It could be the professional basketball right now. It could be the NBA. Or, of course, it could be the buzzer beaters, the Cinderella stories, and all that we get in March, and even who's cutting down the nets. With tournaments, games happening every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly. There is no waiting around. It's going to show up right in your account. So visit FanDuel.com today. Get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. FanDuel.com to join today.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Sneaky Jody Biasi back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Sabres in Utah, 9 o'clock puck drop tonight. Was looking through some of the odds, and I've got a sneaky good bet that I really like for tonight's game. Was looking at some of the anytime goal odds. Before that, I was actually looking at the over-unders because saw a stat the other day that the Buffalo Sabres are number one in the NHL this year at hitting the over. They have hit the over in 37 of their 66 games. Some of those have been pushes also. So not a lot of unders. So I'm like, okay, make the under my sneaky good bet of tonight's game. But then I'm looking further and I'm like, wait, before I do that, let me look at what Utah is. Utah is 27th in the NHL at hitting the over. They are 5th in the NHL by, of course, the other way around. 5th at hitting the over. Or the under, excuse me. 5th at hitting the under. Sabres are 1st at hitting the over. Opposites. The Utah Hockey Club does not give up a lot of goals. If you just look at where they're at on the season, they've given up 200. They've scored 191, and they've given up 205. The Sabres have scored 209, so they've scored 18 more goals than Utah have, and they've allowed 232, 27 more goals than Utah has allowed. Huge difference between the two in total. So I'm going to stay away from the over-under in this one. I'm going anytime goal, and it's because of two facts. One, this guy scored an awesome goal in the Sabres' last game in Boston. And two, his odds are third worst in the entire hockey game and are second worst on the Buffalo Sabres, despite the fact that he plays a ton of minutes. And I know that he's not a big goal scorer, but Owen Power for this game is plus 1,200 to score a goal. He does have 7 on the year. It's not like he's got 2 and doesn't play a lot. 7 goals on the year. I mean, there's only 16 games left. So his pace is more about 8 goals, but a guy that scores 8 goals should have better than plus 1,200 odds, or at least a little bit better. He plays the power play, of course, as well. His odds are worse than Tyson Kozak, Sam Lafferty, Beck Malenstein. In fact, the only players he's better than at plus 1,200 are Matthias Samuelsson. Actually, he's second worst. Oli Mata just jumped above him, actually, while I was talking from Utah. So Matthias Samuelsson, the only one below him. And, that makes sense. Samuelsson never scores 1-2 goals a year. He never plays on the power play. He never gets offensive zone starts. Power does all that. And I do think his shot has improved this year. I think we've noticed a difference. I know I'm not just making that point after one awesome goal against Boston. I've noticed it at other times throughout the year as well, that he is getting more weight on his shot. I think there is still a ways to go given his frame. I mean, Dahlin was this. Dahlin couldn't get anything on shots at the beginning of his career. And now he's blasting it from the point to tie games at the end, beating goalies clean. I think that's going to happen for Power over time. It hasn't all the way yet, but it has some. I think his shot is definitively better. 7 goals on the year. He had 6 total last season. So he already beat that. And I think he'll beat it by a couple more. So Power at plus 1,200 is because of the astronomical odds, basically, that he has relative to the rest of the team. Yeah, I'm going to go with Power. I also like Greenway at plus 750 just because he's playing on the top line a lot lately. But I like Power more. That's my sneaky good bet for tonight's game for the Sabres. Utah, if they're going to button things up, see if you could drag them out of it, play a more high-event hockey game, and I think that would do better for the Sabres. Pull Utah out of what they like to do, which is to slow the game down a little bit, and I think the Sabres should just play go, go, go as much as they can. All right, enjoy the game. 9 o'clock tonight. We'll talk about it with you tomorrow. We'll preview the weekend and look ahead to that, and we'll have some fun with it. Sabres and Utah tonight. If you're looking for more league-wide stories, be sure to make your second listen Locked On NHL. The local stories that matter and the league-wide stories that matter, of course, love from Locked On. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll talk to you tomorrow here on the Locked On Sabres podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.